Greetings YouTube, this is Godzilla here, and for today's/tonight's review, I will be talking about the Godzilla who battled King Kong back in 1962, and that would be KingGoji, or the 62 Godzilla from NECA. Now this is one of my personal favourite incarnations of Godzilla, along with the original 1954 Gojira and GMK 2001 Godzilla. And I use this incarnation for my series Kaiju and Cryptids, so as you know I have the Gashapon model of him, and I even own the WizKid miniature that's also made by NECA. I think I like this version of the character because he's more dinosaur-like in appearance, and I believe that was made deliberate because King Kong is well known to fight off dinosaurs and other giant man-eating reptiles, so it makes sense that Toho would portray the king like this. Like many other action figures, he has articulation, however some of the joints are really stiff. In some areas like the jaw, it's completely fine, and the arms ain't too bad, but the legs are a different story. The neck and head do also move, but I don't really play around with the head articulation, unless it's something like a Dalek. The tail can be placed down, but Godzilla is always iconically raising his tail up, which is how I display him. I should point out that this is actually my second figure of 62 Godzilla. You see, the first one I got on Christmas Day 2019 had a quality control issue, and that was the absence of the plug that connects both Kaiju and tail together, and because of that, I had to get another one which came with a plug. He comes with an accessory which is the atomic breath, but I'm not a big fan of the breath piece, so I display him without it. KingGoji was more hunched over in the movie, and while the NECA figure can be seen in that pose, mine, as you can see, is straight upright. But I think there were some moments in the film where he seemed to be that way. I love the paint job on the figure, which is a green colour, and green seems to be the most reoccurring colour for most merchandise of this incarnation of the king. Not too sure where this idea came from because if my memory serves me correctly, I believe that he was a dark greyish colour with only a slight tint of dark green. I don't know if this is meant to make him stand out from the other incarnations that are either black, dark grey, or rarely a very dark blue colour. So it's kind of similar to what we see on nearly all the figures and merchandise for the Gold Supreme Dalek from Doctor Who's Day of the Daleks, when the neckbin area should be gold, not black. The figure's detail looks to be faithful to the actual suit, and Godzilla would be incomplete without his iconic dorsal spines. The top teeth are covered by his lip, and this impression makes him look like a Muppet, especially when he's got his mouth open. But like I mentioned earlier, you can close it, like most other figures who also possess jaw articulation. No, actually with his mouth closed, he looks more like the big-lipped alligator from a Don Bluth movie. And now for size comparisons. Well, KingGoji was one of those incarnations of the Kaiju King that was only a one-off, so let's compare him to his one and only rival, King Kong. And yes, this is the 2005 Peter Jackson Kong, and not the Toho incarnation of the 8th wonder of the world. This was the only Kong figure that I had in the collection at the time these pictures were taken, so I didn't have NECA King Kong or the Bandai Movie Monster Series Titanus Kong back then. And because Jackson's Kong was only 25 centimeters, my math is no good, if I'm wrong, he would only come up to Godzilla's ankle, so this is severely wrong if you're a sucker for accuracy. But if you just want a decent King Kong figure that will look your Godzilla model in the eye, then he looks good enough. By the way, I did a review on the Peter Jackson 2005 King Kong from Playmates. The link to that review will be in the description below. And here is the 1962 Godzilla with 2019 Monsterverse Godzilla, better known as Titanus Gojira. I think Titanus Godzilla should be bigger than KingGoji, but it's a bit off. This looks kinda off. It's alright. So, final thoughts on the NECA Godzilla 1962, aka KingGoji. This is an absolute brilliant figure and an excellent representation of the king. You may get lucky with this one, but since NECA no longer produce Godzilla products because they don't have the license anymore, sadly, finding this figure may be quite dodgy, but there's always the Bandai Movie Monster Series and SH Monster Arts models if you can find or afford those. Also, this is the first review of a large Godzilla figure that I've done for this channel. Yeah, for Godzilla himself, so far I've mostly covered the Gashapons and not any of the big figures, aside from the NECA NES Godzilla, or 8-bit Goji, as I call him. But he doesn't really count, because he's from a video game and not a movie. That's just sacrilege that I haven't reviewed my idol, except for Gashapons and 8-Bit Goji. But never fear, as he has now been taken care of, and now out of my system. This is Dragonzilla signing out. Take care and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.